Howdy folks, and welcome back to Elite Dangerous with the mighty Jingles. Right now, you've caught me just sort of tying up a couple of loose ends. There are a couple of new engineers that I've unlocked access to, neither of which provide anything particularly useful. The two engineers in question are Didi Vataman and Liz Ryder. Liz Ryder provides access to upgrades to missile weapons, which, you know, is something that's nice to have, but it's not absolutely essential. And Didi Vataman provides access to grade 5 shield booster upgrades. Again, nice to have, but not exactly essential. Nevertheless, I figured I may as well just tie up the loose ends before I embarked on the next major leg of my journey. And that's pretty much why you find me here, at Lave Station. Regarded by many as the spiritual home of Elite because way back in the 1980s when the original game first came out, this is where you started, at Lave Station. And this is probably where you first died, doing exactly this, trying to actually fit through the mail slot and dock at Lave Station without blowing yourself up. Because back then, the merest touch against the station structure on the way in killed you. And of course, nobody had access to docking computers at that point, so you either got good at making manual landings or you died a lot. And the reason I'm here is because Didi Vataman wants 50 units of Lavian brandy, and Lave Station is the only place where you can get it. So I thought to myself, just turn up in something that has at least 50 units of cargo capacity and we're good. Unfortunately, it's never quite that simple, is it? You see, Lave Station, for reasons known only to Lave Station, never has more than 24 units of Lavian brandy in stock at any one time. And Didi Vataman wants 50. You don't have to be a mathematical genius to work out that this is going to take 3 trips. I mean, why? You know, even without asking, that the only reason that the supply of Lavian brandy is limited to 24 units at any given time is purely and simply because Frontier Developments want to make you work at unlocking these engineers. And it's so completely pointless. But 50 units is what she wants, so 50 units spread out over 3 trips is what she's going to get. Didi Vataman is located at Vataman LLC on Planet 1A in the Leasty system, which is only 4 light years away from Lave, so I suppose as the runaround goes, this could have been substantially worse. Upgrade your shield boosters at Didi's place. Take them as far as you like. You don't have to worry about any further unlocks. She doesn't lead to any other engineers. She's a bit of a dead end. Like I said, we're just tying up loose ends here. The other loose end is Liz Ryder. Liz specialises in missile weapons. And in order to gain access to her, you have to have at least cordial or friendly status with the faction known as the Euribia Blue Mafia. As the name would suggest, they're a faction in the Euribia system. And I'd already taken care of that quite some time ago now during the Marco Quent grind. One of the reasons why Marco was such a pain in the arse was because in the process of unlocking him, I undertook a 10,000 light-year round trip, and all of the astronavigational data that I gathered on that trip went towards improving reputation with the Sirius Corporation, to gain access to the Sirius system, which is where Marco Quent lived. Any leftover was then dumped on stations controlled by the Alioth Independents to unlock access to the Alioth system, where Bill Turner lived, and anything that was left over after that got dumped on stations in the Euribia system to improve my reputation with the Euribia Blue Mafia, which unlocked access to Liz Ryder. So all of that groundwork that we laid with Marco Quent, while it was a colossal pain in the arse at the time, is all starting to pay off now. Unfortunately, as I was about to find out, it turns out that Liz Ryder enjoys giving you the runaround almost as much as that complete arsehole Marco Quent does. See, it's not just as simple as gaining cordial or friendly reputation with the Euribia Blue Mafia, and then handing over 200 landmines. Yes, really, don't ask. It's a little bit trickier than that, which is why you find me here at the hilariously named... Seriously. Look at the name of that station. We're in the Eurybia system, by the way. And how do you even pronounce that? Aurea Flurble. Well, you can never accuse the Eurybia Blue Mafia of not having a sense of humour. Although I immediately got suspicious because this is where I've been directed to make contact with Liz Ryder. But every other engineer in the game thus far has been located on a settlement on a planet's surface. None of them hang out at space stations. That was kind of the whole point of the Horizons expansion for Elite Dangerous. It introduced not only the engineers, but also landing on planetary surfaces. So you had to have the Horizons expansion in order to make contact with any of the engineers, because they were all located on planet surfaces, and you couldn't land on a planet surface unless you had the Horizons expansion. Yeah, I see what you did there, Frontier Developments. But that begs the question, what the hell am I doing at the Aurea Flurble Orbital? Because Liz Ryder isn't going to be here. Well, it turns out I was soon going to come to regret asking questions like that. And if you're asking the question, Jingles, are you trying to do a manual landing? Very, very badly. Yes. Yes, I am. And not through choice. Because I'm here in my Asp Explorer. And the thing about the Asp Explorer is it doesn't carry an awful lot of cargo. I mean, it can, but you have to strip out a lot of stuff that's nice to have in order to carry the amount of cargo that you're going to need to be able to transport 200 units of landmines. It's going to take a couple of trips, even if you make the maximum available use of all cargo space, and that means flying without a docking computer, amongst other things. So where's this rider person? Let's check the mission board. There it is, Eurybia Blue Mafia Engineer Invitation Contract. Deliver data to Edison Gateway in the Scylla system, and the mission reward is Liz Ryder. So it's data, it's not going to take up any of the cargo space that I have, so we're going to go ahead and accept that. It's one easy jump, it's only a couple of light years. Deliver the data, gain access to Liz Ryder. And that is pretty much exactly what's going to happen, with one minor complication, which you'll see when we emerge from the other end of the jump, which should be happening any second now. More or less. Come on, I don't have all day. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Scylla system. Or possibly it's the Scylla system. Either way, the system's named after the legendary Greek monster, a Hydra, I believe, who haunted the rocks of a narrow strait opposite the whirlpool of Charybdis. Funnily enough, both Scylla and Charybdis were Leander-class frigates in the Royal Navy, although not the Leander-class frigates that you... well, technically Leander-class cruisers that you might be familiar with in World of Warships. No, these were much later designs commissioned in the 1970s. Holy shit, Edison Gateway is 227,000 light seconds away. Now, for those of you who might be struggling to wrap your head around the idea of just exactly how far away that is, I think the quote from the late great Douglas Adams is quite appropriate here. Space is big. You just won't believe how vastly, hugely, mind-bogglingly big it is. I mean, you may think it's a long way down the road to the chemists, but that's just peanuts to space. Because 227,000 light seconds. Take the average distance from the Sun to Pluto, and then multiply that by 11.5. And that's how far away Edison Gateway is. At my current speed of more than 44 times the speed of light, actually we're approaching nearly 50 times the speed of light, and it's still going to take more than an hour for me to get there. It's not actually going to take an hour, because under constant acceleration the ship will quite easily do 1,000 times the speed of light, but it's still going to take a while, so, well, fuck you, Liz Ryder. It could have been worse though, at least it's not Hutton Orbital. People who are new to the game, if you're lucky, have not heard of Hutton Orbital. If you're not lucky, you have, and you've endured the trip there. Hutton Orbital is an outpost. It's just a shitty little outpost in the Alpha Centauri system. And the joke goes that noobs to elite are told that they can get a free Anaconda, which is an extremely large and expensive ship, if they just go to Hutton Orbital. See, here's the thing about the Alpha Centauri system. It's a binary system. Well, actually, discussion about the Alpha Centauri system tends to get pretty complicated and pretty controversial very, very quickly. Because the Alpha Centauri system is listed as a binary star system with Alpha Centauri A and B, but there's also an Alpha Centauri C, which goes by the name of Proxima Centauri. So surely that's a trinary system. Well, no. Astronomers still refer to Alpha Centauri as a binary system, while at the same time saying that Proxima Centauri is part of the system. And the reason they say that Alpha Centauri is a binary system, despite technically containing 3 stars, is that the third star, Proxima Centauri, which is the closest star to the Sun, is really fucking far away from the other 2 stars that make up the binary component of the system. More than 2 million light seconds, 0.22 light years away. The issue, of course, is that when you jump to the Alpha Centauri system in Elite, you arrive at Alpha Centauri A, which is 0.22 light years away from Proxima Centauri, around which orbits the shitty little Hutton Orbital outpost. It is so far away that even at maximum supercruise, it will take you at least an hour and a half of real time to get there from the system jump point. And when you do eventually get to Hutton Orbital, what awaits you there? Well, certainly not the shiny new Anaconda you've been promised. It's just an outpost, it doesn't even have a shipyard. But it does boast one rare good that you can't get anywhere else. The world famous Hutton Orbital mug. The mug is described as follows. Delivered over vast distances by those in search of a profit, the Hutton mug is only sold to commanders who make the painfully long journey to Hutton Orbital. Made from the salvaged frameshift drive plates of ships that ran out of fuel before reaching the station, this is purely a vanity item, commemorating the epic journey. Its value lies in its rarity and latent frameshift energies keeping your drink a little bit warmer for the journey. To be fair, it isn't completely worthless. It's still a rare item, and its value therefore does increase the further away you sell it from the station, in this case Hutton Orbital, where you obtained it. Naturally, this then leads to a follow-up prank, perpetrated by malicious elite veterans on the poor noobs, who have actually managed to stomach the hours-long journey to Hutton Orbital, and then go on to the forums to complain that they didn't get their new Anaconda. Buy the mugs, everybody tells them. They're rare items. Trade them at Colonia, 22,000 light years away, for millions. It's true that rare items like the Hutton Orbital mug and the Centauri gin that you can also buy at Hutton Orbital increase in value the further away you trade them, but the distance is capped at 150 light years. So you don't have to go all the way to Colonia. But that doesn't stop people from trying. Seriously, you've got to stop believing everything you read on the internet. Anyway, I've made it eventually to Edison Gateway after a journey of around 20 minutes. Don't worry, I wasn't going to make you sit through all of that in real time. Now remember, I don't have a docking computer, so I get to practice my manual landing skills once again. I stripped out the docking computer to make space for extra cargo racks in order to transport the 200 landmines that Liz Ryder is eventually going to need. I land without any serious incidents, top off my fuel tanks and head to the mission board to hand in the engineering invitation contract. Okay, is that it? Where's the follow-up? Oh, I've received a new message. Okay. There it is. Invitation from Liz Ryder. So she's added a waypoint to my galaxy map. You're not going to tell me where it is. I'm going to have to check. Okay, we'll check the galaxy map. Fair enough. Come on, Liz. You're going to be back in Eurybia, aren't you? Yeah, there it is. Oh, God damn it. Right. Fine. So, sometime later, although not nearly as long as it took to get to Edison Gateway, I'm making a manual landing, because I had to strip out my docking computer to make space for the cargo racks and all of those landmines. I'm landing at Demolition Unlimited on the planet Makalu in the Eurybia system. And that's when I realised that all the time I'd spent yelling at Liz Ryder for giving me the runaround would have been much more profitably spent sourcing the 200 landmines that she wants before she'll actually agree to talk to me. Well, shit. So where can I get 200 landmines? Quick. Well, a quick trip to the excellent Elite Dangerous database website tells me exactly where I can get 200 landmines on the cheap. And then it's back to Demolition Unlimited. Now this did take a couple of trips. I really should have done this in my Clipper or my Cutter or even my Python, because I think the most that I'm actually capable of carrying in the ASP is, well, it would have been 64 tons, except as well as stripping out the docking computer, I also stripped out the shield generator. That's a decision that's going to come back to bite me in the arse. In fact, both of those decisions are going to come back to bite me in the arse. See, I've seen people complaining in the comments in previous videos that they don't like the flight model, that it's not properly Newtonian. It actually is. But flying with flight assist, your computer is constantly firing the thrusters to try to give you a more manageable flight experience. Veteran pilots have learned to fly with flight assist off for that proper Newtonian flight model, allowing them to be much, much more proficient in deep space dogfights. So there definitely is a Newtonian flight system here in Elite Dangerous. And it also takes into account things like planetary gravity, which is not something that I'm used to having to deal with when making manual landings. You see, you don't have to worry about things like gravity affecting your flight path when you're making a landing on an orbital station. And you don't really have to worry about things like gravity, inertia and momentum affecting your flight path when you're making a landing on the docking computer, because the computer takes care of it for you. But you definitely have to worry about things like gravity, inertia and momentum when you're making a manual landing on the surface of a planet and you have stripped out your shield generators to make space for extra cargo racks. Bollocks! On the bright side, I do respawn at the last station that I visited, and that's where I bought the landmines, which is handy because I'm going to need to buy some more. And also, you lot finally get to see the Jingles landing you've all been waiting so patiently for. You knew it was only a matter of time. Anyway, I finally finished with Liz Ryder, tied up the last of the loose ends and got her to upgrade my missile systems. Yes, I've fitted out the Asp Explorer with a bunch of small missile launchers. Now, missiles are not normally something that I fly with. Certainly not on the Asp. It's not really a dedicated combat ship, although it can be not bad. And the reason I don't normally fly with missiles is because, well, they have very, very limited ammunition. You don't get many reloads for the launchers, and once they're gone, they're gone. They are very effective if you manage to hit a ship that's had its shields knocked down by your beam lasers, for example, as I'm about to demonstrate here. And yeah, he's dead. Admittedly, he was just mostly harmless, not much of a challenge. Didn't really need to use the missiles on him. I mean, the beam lasers, which are only medium beam lasers, but they are engineered medium beam lasers, were doing a pretty good job anyway. Oh, wait, there's another one. Now, shooting up pirates like this is obviously going to be good for raising my combat rating, and that's something that I'm definitely going to have to do, because there are other engineers that require a combat rating of at least competent, and in some cases expert, before they'll have anything to do with you. And oh, that guy managed to jump out. Oh well, never mind. Brew Tarquin, for example, who provides grade 5 access to upgrades for beam, pulse and burst lasers, requires a combat rating of competent or higher. Now, competent isn't that difficult to get, although it's going to take some time, because I think at the moment, well, certainly at the time I recorded this, I was rated as mostly harmless, which is pretty bad. But there are other engineers like Laurie Jameson who requires a combat rating of dangerous or higher, and that's going to take forever. But here's the thing. The engineers out in Colonia, 22,000 light years away, because they're so far away, and there aren't that many of them out in Colonia, the ones that are out there offer a massive range of services at a very, very high level. Because if you're out there and you do need something engineered, it's massively inconvenient to have to make the 22,000 light year trip back to the bubble just for that purpose. Engineers like, for example, Mel Brandon, from whom you can get grade 5 upgrades on your frameshift drive, your thrusters, shield generator, burst, pulse and beam lasers, your frameshift drive interdictor, your shield boosters and grade 4 access to shield cell banks. Engineers like Etienne Dawn, from whom you can get grade 5 upgrades to your sensors, life support, power plant and power distributor, as well as grade 4 access to a whole bunch of other things. Basically, everything that you can get from the 15, 16 engineers in the bubble, you can get from 3 or 4 engineers out in Colonia. You just have to undertake the 22,000 light year trip out there. And that, once I've racked up 100,000 credits worth of bounty vouchers, which really does not take very long when you're hunting pirates in resource extraction zones, because 100,000 credits worth of bounty vouchers is the incredibly low price of entry to Mel Brandon's services out in Colonia. And that's where I'm going to be going next, although I'm not going to be going out there in the Asp Explorer. Capable ship though it is, it could certainly do the trip. I'm going to be taking something a bit bigger. I'm going to be taking a brand spanking new Anaconda. You see, there are two different philosophies concerned when it comes to outfitting and choosing a ship for the 22,000 light year journey to Colonia. Medium ships like the Diamondback Explorer or the Asp Explorer are certainly capable of doing the trip, as is a large ship like the Anaconda, which has the theoretical longest jump range in the game. I've seen people posting Anaconda builds that allow them to get up to 84 light years in a single jump. Now, I'm certainly not going to be approaching even getting close to that. I'll be satisfied with half of that, because the two competing philosophies can basically be boiled down to speed or utility, and I'm going to be going for utility. To get the journey done as quickly as possible, you're going to need an Anaconda. You're going to need to have that Anaconda stripped of everything that isn't absolutely essential, and everything that is absolutely essential is going to be engineered either for reduced mass or for increased jump range. You're also going to need a Guardian frameshift drive booster, and I don't have access to that yet. Going down this route will obviously allow you to complete the 22,000 light year journey in the minimum number of jumps. It's still going to take well over 100 jumps, and it's still probably going to take you a day or two, but you'll get there as quickly as possible. That's not what I'm going to be going for, because we're going to be travelling through hundreds of different star systems, and there is likely to be a lot of things to see along the way. And if I do see something interesting, I'd like to investigate it. So I'm going to be taking a planetary vehicle hangar. I'm going to be taking additional fuel tanks. I'm going to be taking all kinds of scanners so I can actually profit from all of the things that I see along the way. So I've ended up with an Anaconda that has a 46.6 light year maximum jump range, which isn't great, certainly, but it's definitely good enough. I have a massive reserve fuel tank, so if I run into a cluster of, for example, brown dwarf stars that I can't refuel from, I'm not going to be stuck in the middle of nowhere calling on the services of the fuel rats. To that end, I also have the best and biggest fuel scoop that money can buy. If I happen across anything interesting, I have a detailed surface scanner so I can map it and make money from it when I finally arrive at Colonia, and a planetary vehicle hangar so I can land on anything that looks interesting along the way and just enjoy and make the most out of the journey rather than simply trying to get to the destination as quickly as humanly possible. And it is one hell of a destination. Marsha Hicks is out there, Etienne Dawn is out there, Mel Brandon is out there. Where exactly is out there? Well, Marsha Hicks is located in the Tier system, a mere 21,900 light years away. So far away that when I'm focused on the Tier system out in Colonia at maximum zoom on the galaxy map, I can't actually see where I currently am in comparison and have to pan the map across. So far away that my flight computer can't actually calculate a direct jump. Well, not a direct jump, but a direct route all the way out to Colonia. So I have to pick somewhere halfway and see if the flight computer can manage to calculate that. Come on, Fingers crossed. Bingo. So that's the first leg of my journey. Remember, this is only halfway, and how many jumps is that? Well, let's take a... Oh, that's a lot. 300 jumps. And that's only halfway there. It's not going to take me that many jumps. I am very quickly going to come to the conclusion that I really should be taking advantage of the neutron highway. Do you remember you can use a jet cone boost from a neutron star to make the efficiency of your frameshift drive on the next jump 300% more effective? That is going to seriously cut down on the number of jumps required. But even then, this is going to be a seriously long trip that actually took something like 3 days of real time over the course of a weekend. And that's what we've got to look forward to. Don't worry, not in real time. You'll be getting the edited highlights. But that's what we have to look forward to in the next video. Wish me luck, kids. I'm going to Colonia. Hopefully, fingers crossed, knock on wood, I won't fuck it up. What? Don't laugh. I might not. That's it for today, folks. Hope you enjoyed it. And as always, take care, stay safe, and I'll catch you next time.